Robert McCall, a former soldier, is up early in the morning getting ready for his regular job at a hardware store. He's liked by his co-workers and is having lunch with his friend, Ralphie. As Ralphie takes a bite of his sandwich, McCall notices something crunchy. Ralphie's sandwich has potato chips in it, which reminds him that he's trying to lose weight to become a security guard. Most nights, McCall goes to a local restaurant to eat and read books. One night, a young girl asks him about the book he's reading, The Old Man and the Sea. McCall tells her that the main character hasn't caught the fish yet. After the girl finishes her dessert, she calls a taxi. McCall's co-workers asked him what he used to do for a living. He joked around and said he used to be a good dancer for Gladys Knight. Later that night, he went back to the restaurant and saw the same girl. She noticed that he was reading a different book. Suddenly, a fancy car pulled up outside the restaurant. The girl got a phone call from her pimp, Slavy. Slavy told her that she had a customer. The girl didn't want to go, but she went outside anyway to meet the fat man in the car. The next night, McCall saw the girl at the restaurant again. She had a bruise on her face. He gave her a donut from his work and they talked. She told him her name was Teri, but her real name was Elena. She also gave McCall a CD of her singing. McCall and Elena walked together. A car stopped and Slavy got out and hit Elena. McCall wanted to help Elena, but he saw that Slavy had a gun. Slavy gave McCall a card with his contact information and asked him to find other girls for him. One night, McCall went back to the restaurant. The manager told him that Elena was in the hospital because she was badly hurt. McCall went to see her and saw another girl, Mandy, who was also hurt. Mandy was crying and spilled her coffee. McCall tried to make her feel better and asked her about Elena. They took the elevator, and Mandy told McCall that Slavy hit Elena, and Elena fought back. Slavy was mean and hurt another girl too. McCall looked at the card that Slavy had given him. He went to a restaurant where Slavy and his friends were meeting. McCall went inside with an envelope that had $9,800 in it. He wanted to use the money to get Elena out of trouble. At first, Slavy's friends laughed at him, but Slavy said that the money could keep Elena for a month. McCall took the money back and started to leave, but then he decided to stay and lock the door. He looked at the men's weapons and set a timer on his watch. One of the men pointed his gun at McCall, but McCall grabbed his arm and made him shoot Slavy in the neck. He then stuck a glass in the man's eye, stabbed another man, and used a corkscrew to stab Teri many times until he killed him. McCall watched Slavy die slowly. After these killings, a Russian gangster named Teri came to Boston to find the person who did it. He worked with bad cops to get information. At work, McCall noticed that Ralphie was gone. He found out that Ralphie had quit his job and was now working at a restaurant where his mother worked. This restaurant had a fire. Teri and a bad cop named Frank Masters went to see a gangster named John Looney. John said bad things about Teri and Russians. Teri hit John with a plate, and Frank killed John's friends. Teri kept hitting John until he passed out. McCall was playing baseball with his friends. Ralphie showed up wearing a security guard uniform because he had passed his test. Two bad cops, Reamer and Peterson, asked Ralphie's mom for money. They said they would hurt her if she didn't give them money. McCall saw them outside the restaurant and said he would tell the police about what they were doing. They didn't listen until he called one of them. McCall showed them a video he had taken of them stealing money from a store and also showed them proof that they started the fire at the restaurant. The bad cops pointed guns at McCall, but McCall quickly beat them. They gave the money back to Ralphie's mom. A bad person held a cashier at gunpoint at a store. McCall walked over to the bad person and gave him the money. The bad person also wanted the cashier's ring, which was her mother's. McCall watched the bad person carefully and noticed things like his tattoos and hat, but he didn't do anything because there were children around. Instead, he followed the bad person outside and saw the numbers on his car. The police told McCall that the man was part of a group of people who were stealing things. McCall got a big hammer from a shelf. The next day, the cashier found her ring in the cash register. McCall put the hammer back where he got it after cleaning it. Teri found out about McCall, but he didn't find anything that showed McCall was involved in Slavy's death. Teri and Frank, along with another bad guy, watched a restaurant where they thought McCall would be. McCall saw that the man was doing something bad and asked him if he was waiting for someone. The man took out a gun and started to walk towards McCall. A truck came and blocked Teri and his friends from seeing what was happening. McCall hit the man in the stomach with his book and then killed him by hitting his head on the table. He turned off the lights and left the restaurant, taking pictures of Teri and his friends. The bad guys followed McCall home. He heated honey to treat a wound and was able to leave before Teri and his friends arrived. McCall watched them from cameras that he had hidden in his apartment. Teri knew that McCall was watching him. Teri went to the house of his friends, Brian and Susan. McCall knew that Susan could find out information about Teri and his friends. While Susan was out, Brian told McCall that people thought Teri was dead, but Susan knew he was alive. Susan told McCall that the men he killed were part of a Russian crime group called the Mafia. The leader of the Mafia was Vladimir Pushkin. Teri's real name was Nikolai, and Pushkin sent him to do things. Reamer and Peterson were also working for Pushkin, but they were found dead a few days ago. Susan told McCall that the bad guys wouldn't stop until they hurt McCall and the people he cared about. McCall found Frank and put him in his car. He used a hose to poison Frank with gas. Frank finally agreed to help McCall. Frank took McCall to a place where the Russians kept their money. McCall was able to make all the bad guys give up. He tied them up in a room with the money so that the police could find it. Then, he let the workers go. The police came and found the bad guys, the money, and arrested Frank. McCall goes to Frank's safe deposit box and takes his passport, cash, and a USB drive that has details on Pushkin's activities on it. He finds and blows up all of Pushkin's oil tankers. After seizing control of Home Mart, Teri and his crew kidnap McCall's buddies. One of McCall's colleagues is threatened with death when he doesn't show up. As soon as McCall begins killing the gangsters one by one, music can be heard over the intercom. He stabs one through the neck, hangs another with barbed wire, and explodes up another in a hydrogen-filled room. Ralphie is shot while attempting to assist McCall. After assisting him in getting out, McCall is left alone with Teri as the sprinklers go off due to an explosion. McCall gets a construction tool that shoots nails and uses it to kill Teri. A few days later, he finds Pushkin at home and scares him with lights and water. Pushkin tries to find McCall but can't and calls for help. McCall has already made the electrical wires dangerous, and when Pushkin touches the water, he gets shocked and dies. The other guards are already dead. McCall goes back home and sees Elena, who looks better. She tells him she has a new job and is reading books. She thanks him for helping her and kisses him goodbye. In the last part, McCall is back at his usual place and gets a message asking for help. He agrees without hesitation. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Take care.